With one regulation win in the month of November, we've got 3 ways for the Utah Mammoth to shake it up right now.
You are Locked On Mammoth, your daily podcast on the Utah Mammoth, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, everyone, and welcome in once again to Locked On Mammoth. We appreciate you joining us. I'm veteran NHL voice Tom Callahan, joined as always by longtime team analyst Robyn Leaño. We're part of the Locked On Podcast Network, now the #1 sports podcast network. Today's show, Robyn, we're trying to find ways for this Utah Mammoth team to right the ship. They have one regulation win in the month of November. They're coming into a critical homestand here. It's going to start with Vegas, and we will preview that game a little bit later on. But something's got to change. And not only does something have to change, something big has to change. And so that's why we've got 3 ways, and these are not small ways. These are earth-shattering, moon-cratering ideas to try to shake it up now for this Mammoth team, because I've told you that 20-game mark to me is so critical because I think that's who you are. And Robyn, I have switched my decision on this team from 7-game win streak. That's who they were. They're a playoff team, to now same old, same old. And same old is not playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't like that. But I'm afraid that's what we're seeing again.
And you know what? I said it earlier in the last few episodes too, and it was the fear that I had. And to me, I don't believe it. I believe the fear has intensified to wondering whether or not what we saw in that 7-game win streak was them being a fraud team, right? Where that's not really what they were. That's what we're seeing now. It's that's probably what we're going to see this season, and that scares me, Tom.
And you wonder, because teams can get hot. And when they do get hot, you want to believe that that's who they are and that they've really found their way and that they are going to be that good. But then you get to the other side of it now where, as I mentioned, one regulation win in November. Like, let that sink in for a minute. And only 2 wins, both against Buffalo. They had to win the other one in overtime against Buffalo. And look, you can try to put the positive spin on it and say, well, they got points in they're 1-0-3 in their last 4. But losing winnable games, giving up leads late, taking dumb penalties that lead to losses, Robyn, all of these things have been happening again. All the mental mistakes, all the breakdowns, everything that's been happening. And our comment section has been on fire. And social media has been on fire. The fans definitely have opinions. Everydayers, thank you. We love you guys. We so appreciate you. You're finding your voice now as a community. And I don't want it to get too overwhelmingly negative, but I do think it's important to differentiate last year to this year. Last year was the honeymoon period, and everybody was like, oh, this is nice. We have a team. This is awesome. Yay. And I don't blame you, because that's an awesome thing. Holy cow, the NHL just showed up. But now, Robyn, I think the dew is off the lily here.
Yeah, and I feel like what we've said the entire time, Tom, was the expectations have been high, right? They saw how the team was last year after the excitement, but like, oh, wow, this team's exciting. And they keep seeing what Bill Armstrong has been doing to build a stacked roster and a playoff caliber roster. And you're not seeing the results on the ice, and people are frustrated. And I get it. I get all the frustrations, because this is not the team that we were all hyping up this offseason.
Well, and on paper, they're still not that team. On paper, they're really, really good. So that's why I want to get into our 3 ways here, Robyn, to shake it up now. And I don't think we're going to be reinventing the wheel on these. But the first way that I think you shake any organization up, and there are other organizations also pondering the same thing right now, is make a giant trade. You make a big trade and you shake it up that way. I'll be honest with you, I have kind of soured on Sergachev a little bit here. to this point in his tenure. And I know it's early for Tanev, but I'm not overly excited about what Tanev has been bringing to the table either. Those are just a couple of the guys that I would dangle out there. But I think, to me, the symptom of what's ailing the defense is a lot of the poor decisions that have been embodied by the poor play of Mikhail Sergachev. So, do you dangle him to a team that needs a number 1D, a power play quarterback? Look, he puts up his offense. He's always going to put up numbers. He's a good player, skilled, just don't like his decision making. But I think a big trade is one of the ways right now you could absolutely stir the pot. And if you're Bill Armstrong, do you explore that right now? Or does that scream too much panic mode?
And that's a huge question, Tom. And like, there are a lot of different ways you can look at it. I feel like, to me, one of the issues with that is what the contract value is for Mikhail Sergachev, especially if he hasn't been playing well. So there's some people that might be like, well, we don't want to take on that deal. And I don't see Utah trying to take on the those kind of like retained salaries for this kind of situation. I mean, if they desperately want to move him, then sure, yeah, that's fine. They have to eat that, but I don't know if Bill Armstrong wants to do that.
I would rather get a solid stay-at-home defenseman and some other assets at this point. Honestly, that's kind of how I feel. And I reserve the right to change my mind in a couple of months if he gets his stuff together. And maybe he will, and I hope he does. But I think that's one of the first big ways you can absolutely try to tear a hole in this one. And Robyn, the other thing is, look, this is not just Utah. And I know not everybody pays attention to the league as a whole, but already the Toronto Maple Leafs have had to call a press conference, and their GM has had to address the media and give the coach a vote of confidence and say, look, the underperformance this year is on me. And yes, we're looking at making changes. The Montreal Canadiens are in the same boat. They're looking at making changes. Already, the media is asking, and actually all the Canadian teams are in a horrible spot. The Oilers need a goaltender. The Flames need an everything. Like, every single team in Canada is under a bigger media scrutiny than the Mammoth, and they are all being focused on with a crazy high-powered microscope right now. Robyn, this is not just the Mammoth, but why I say that is to say that if people are like, well, it's too early to make a big trade, it's not. And there are
We're
damn
20 games in.
there.
We're 20 games in, Tom. I said it on yesterday's episode. We're a quarter way through the season.
Yep. Yeah. And time's a wasting. And time is really a wasting in November. So I don't know, Robyn, what do you think? And folks, let us know what you think in the comments or reach out to us on social media. Is a trade worth it? Do you examine this? I say the answer is yes. Robyn, do you think it's worth exploring?
I do think it's worth exploring. I feel like if you're able to get a good return, and I know Bill Armstrong, he's generally pretty decent with that, right? Finding a good return. I usually have all the faith as much as I can in Bill Armstrong, but gotta find someone who's a reliable stay-at-home defenseman, or just a reliable blue liner in general. I think that's the key word, reliable, because what we're seeing with Sergachev, and yes, he's got the offensive prowess, and he's got what you want from if you're looking for that kind of a defenseman, but where the lapses are is doesn't lock down the blue line, and that's your job. That's your primary job as a defenseman.
Robyn, I'm going to say two names. You probably can guess who I'm going to say because I feel like you'll be able to equate who I feel like Sergachev is the modern day embodiment of, in that he just simply cannot keep it in his own end. Erik Karlsson and Brent Burns.
Yeah.
Just reminds me so much.
I had to bring that one up.
Because, I mean, just wants to run up the ice, make things happen. The difference between Sergachev and a Cale Makar is not a lot, but it's all mental. Now, look, I think Makar is the greatest skater of his era. I think he's the smoothest skater I've ever seen. But he can play both. He can play all 200 feet of the ice and do it excellently. Sergachev just does not ever seem to think about the defensive side.
And it's interesting they bring that up because, like, I was having a conversation with some of our everydayers during the instant premiere. I decided to tune in during the instant premiere. I don't do it very often because I work my day job when the instant premiere just normally drop for each episode. But I was there, right? And I was having a conversation, and there is some agreement that, you know what, at this point, if you're not going to move Sergachev, move him to the wing, move him as a forward, because at that point, you're not really wasting much because he's not going to be playing defensively anyways. And I even said, then there's precedent because they moved Brett Burns to the wing in the early 2010s. The Sharks did that. I think it was around 2013, 2014 season, somewhere around there, right? They did that.
Yep.
And I was wondering too. I was like, wait, you're moving a defenseman to the wing? I was like, oh, that's right, because he's an offensive guy. It makes sense. And I get, if you need to do that to shake things up, do it.
The only thing that gives me pause is the Dursey durability factor. Can Dursey be
the number one D?
Can he be healthy?
Yeah.
For this to work, he has to be healthy. So that's
now it's we're talking now 2 seasons in a row where he takes an injury where he gets out for a decent chunk.
Yeah, significant time. And that's tough. So, I mean, I hope for the best for him, but some players, just that bug always bites them. All right, Robyn, I got 2 more ways I want to shake up things now, immediately, for this Mammoth hockey team. Plus, we are going to talk about the Vegas game because this is a huge game. This is a huge game right now for this team. So we're going to dive into that here next. And today's show is brought to you by Rugiet. Look, let's be real. Making excuses doesn't solve anything. We've all heard them before. It's just stress. I'm tired, or it happens to everyone sometimes. But when it comes to performance, sometimes your body just needs a little extra support. And that's where Rugiet comes in. Rugiet.com offers fast-acting, doctor-prescribed treatments for ED designed to help you stop making excuses and start making moves. If prescribed, your treatment ships discreetly and straight to your door. The process is fast, it's simple, and it's private. All handled by real doctors. It's about confidence, connection, and getting back to the moments that matter. Visit rugiet.com/LockedOnNHL to get 15% off your first order. That's rugiet.com/LockedOnNHL. And don't forget to use our code LockedOnNHL so they know we sent you. Rugiet, stop making excuses and start making moves. Tom Callahan, Robyn Leaño here with you, Locked On Mammoth. Thanks for making us your first listen each and every single day when it comes to the Utah Mammoth hockey team. We're here every single weekday. I know some folks have said, hey, why aren't you putting out episodes on the weekends? We don't often put out weekend episodes. If something major happens, when they trade Sergachev, we'll have an episode about it because it'll happen on a Sunday. But Robyn, generally we're weekdays.
We are weekdays, Monday through Friday. And again, we will announce if we're doing any emergency weekend episodes.
Right.
We will announce on social media like, hey, this major news happened. We will be doing an emergency episode.
That's a big reason why you should follow us over there on social media. And don't forget about our brand new Everydayer Club, which comes out December 8th with perks like the ad-free podcast feed, compatible with all your major podcast apps. There's going to be a Locked On Everydayer Club Discord server featuring a channel for the Mammoth, exclusive access to Locked On Sports Today podcast, and other exclusives like previews, draft previews, fantasy previews, merchandise discount, all that and more coming your way for just $5 a month or $50 a year, so you can save even on the monthly fee.
You know, Tom, I got a little early preview of the channels that are going to be available in the Everydayer Club Discord, and there's going to be a lot. Right? There's going to be one for our show, like you mentioned. There's going to be a lot for there's going to be one for every single show.
Right.
There's going to be one for women's hockey, by the way. If you're a PWHL fan, and I know a lot of you guys are, there's going to be one for that. I know a lot of you guys are Utah fans, so there's going to be a Jazz one. It's going to be whatever. It's all they're inclusive, right? It's gonna be all of us together in one Discord. So make fun out of it.
Yeah, so if you jump in through us, you'll get access to other stuff too. So I hope you do indeed do that. So please consider that. And once we have the place to point you to sign up, we will let you know as soon as possible. So, all right, Robyn, couple other ways I want to shake things up. Number 2 kind of follows on to number 1. Making a trade to me means throwing the lines in a blender and hitting frappe. I want to see a huge line shake up right now. And you know what? I am now on board with your idea of bringing up Danny Goals. Let's get DaniIl But.
Let's go.
Let's get him up here. And because all of a sudden the scoring has dried up, I tell you, it's the race to 3, and they haven't hit 3 goals in a while. They did it against Buffalo, and that's it. If you look back over their losses, they're not getting the goal production. And I put the pickup line back together. And you know what I do? I make the move to put Lawson Krause up on the top line.
Okay.
I put Krause up there with Keller and Schmaltz. I put that line back together from years ago.
The short leash line, as they love to call it.
Yep. And then I go and I'll put, and I don't know, maybe if Boot comes in and really kicks some Boot, then, I might take him off the third line, but for now I bring him in on the third line. And I mean, they just need to do something. I think putting him with Carconi and Yamamoto and just letting those guys go might be a lot of fun to watch.
Even Hayton fits in there.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't want to ignore Barrett Hayton. But something. It's got to change. The lines aren't working.
Like a Boot Hayton Carconi line to me sounds fantastic.
Yeah,
I love that.
I mean, I could flip-flop Carconi and Yamamoto. I think they can be the same player. When they're both effective, they are the same player, which is good. But I put Lawson Krause up top. He's one of the few guys I think that's actually been kind of going lately. And that's not saying much. You know what I mean? I mean, Peterka's got, a little bit of a hot streak riding here. He's starting to wake up again, which is great. But I don't know, Robyn. I just feel like this team right now just needs an absolute kick in the pants. I absolutely would just disintegrate the line combinations and start again.
Sometimes you just have to. And I feel like the amount of changes we're seeing, like, and always kind of like a rotation where they want to try different things. Like, it's whatever it is, it's not working. Just press, and again, you just press the reset button, right? Just press the reset button and just make a couple of tweaks from there.
Robyn,
right?
What about, I just had an idea.
Okay.
Schmaltz, Keller, Sergachev.
Hey, we did bring that up idea, bringing Sergachev up.
What about it? What about it, huh?
I'm not against it. Would be an interesting one, surely.
I also want to see what Simashev looks like when he gets back in the lineup, by the way, because they finally did send him in the press box. But Robyn, I don't know. Is shuffling the lines again the answer? Like, these first two things are tools in the toolkit of 1, Bill Armstrong, and 2, Andre Tourigny. Shuffle the power play lines. Shuffle the units.
Yep. And they've already have shuffled it. I mean, they put Peterka with like McBain, and they put like Gunther with Krause, and they did a lot of different other moving around. They put Cooley back on the top line with Keller and Schmaltz, and that one hasn't been too bad. But again, I feel like when even through a loss, like whether it's the coaching staff or whatever, that they feel like they're a little too stubborn and trying to change it again. Like, if it didn't work, they're like, yeah, well, I guess see what happens again. Let's see if they gel together. Like, sometimes you'll know the instant chemistry. You know it. Sometimes it's instant. It's not often where it's just like snap a finger. Ooh, that looks fantastic. Let's keep that going. But if you get it right, it looks amazing.
I would even put Schmaltz in the middle of Gunther and Peterka and see if that line can make something happen. Schmaltz can play up the middle. I absolutely, Robyn, I'm at a point where I'm ready. I am ready to try things. I would put Boot on a line with Cooley and Keller and see if that fires it up. I would just be trying different things just to try to get it going. But you know what I haven't talked about yet? The semi-nuclear option here. Maybe the nuclear option.
I mean, there's an honorable mention I want to put before we get there.
Okay. Well, do you want to give us your honorable mention now, or do you want to do it on the other side of the break?
I'll give the honorable mention now. And
Okay.
and it is not a surprise, Tom, because I've already called for it. Players only meeting now. And I like to hear that it happens, right? And
Right.
generally you hear when it happens, right? And when you hear it happens, you know things are in dire straits, right? And whoever it is that calls it, is it Keller that calls it, is it Krause that calls it, whoever it is, one needs to be called now because the team's identity is lost.
And the onus is on the leadership of this team in the room. I agree. And Robyn, in a way, that's kind of part of the concerning is like they're not connected for 60 minutes a night. Whether it's motivation, whether it's, give a bleep, however you want to term it, it just doesn't seem to be there. And that is concerning. Nobody wants to see a team just going through the motions 20 games in. All right. So we're going to talk about pushing that big red button, making the big red phone ring for this Mammoth team. But also we got to talk about Vegas because this is a stiff challenge. We'll do that next.
And today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. The NBA is back, and there's no better place to get in on the action than FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Even if you missed the start of the game or just want to ride the hot hand, FanDuel has live bets from everything from who will score next to fourth quarter comebacks. Plus, you can even combine your live bets into a same-game parlay for a shot at a bigger payout. I know a lot of you Jazz fans are just super excited when Lauri Markkanen just goes off, and maybe why not cash in on it, right? Why not just go ahead and say he's going to get a 30-point game? Why not say he's going to get a double-double? Because you know what? I mean, why not? It just keeps the game exciting, especially when your team is making that late push. Right now, FanDuel is giving new customers $300 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. So head over to FanDuel.com, sign up today, play your game with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA.
Tom, Callahan, Robyn Leaño, Locked On Mammoth. Thanks for joining us. And hey, if you like the show, tell your friends. We're building a community here. We're proud of the community we are building because I think we're engendering intelligent conversation and discussion around what's going on with this team right now. Yeah, it's frustrating. I get it. But there are good days and there are bad days. And that's why we're here to talk it out. But Robyn, one of the things in our social media, in our comments that people are starting to echo, and I got on this train a long time ago, and I was the first one on it.
And when the win streak happened, there were the apologists who were saying, oh, these people were very quiet now, but now they come back.
I was there during the win streak too.
Yeah, I know. Well, that I know, Tom. And I was semi with you. I was like, all right, let's see how this cooks first. Let's see if they keep this up. Then, if they don't keep it up, the consistency looks bad, and they have another bad streak like they're having now. Then let's revisit. And we haven't even said what it is yet. And I think a lot of you guys already know.
All the everydayers know.
All the everydayers already know what we're about to say.
You had mentioned it at the end of the last show. You pulled the pin, rolled the grenade into the room, and shut the door. And Robyn, I think it's time to fire the coach. I do. I think it's time to fire the coach. I don't think there's a point in waiting for the end of the homestand. They're not responding. Special teams is abysmal. Power play is like second to last. It's 29th, so third to last. The penalty kill's not bad, but the team is listless. They are lifeless. And some fans have talked about changing up the leadership, maybe switching a C or an A. I don't think that's the problem. I think it's again, more symptoms, right? I talked last show about symptoms. All of these symptoms point to a team that doesn't play a good defensive system, that doesn't have a system that generates offensive chances all the time. And if the coach is up there saying, well, we're a good team when we play our systems, why are they not playing their systems on a regular basis, on a consistent basis? If you no longer have the ear of the room, If you no longer have the attention of the players, they may love you as a coach. You could be a player's coach, but if you're not getting the results out of them because they have tuned you out, your message out, your systems out, they're not listening to you anymore, it is beyond time for a change. And
You're right.
I hit the reset button now, 20 games in, while there's still a chance.
And sometimes that needs to happen. And it's interesting, Tom, because I saw a couple of our everydayers put this comment out here, and it was a question that they put out that they put. And you kind of mentioned it earlier, right? Where there was a little bit of meeting of Toronto where they had to give Berube a vote of confidence, but is that really there? And are they waiting for that bomb to drop?
You know, it's kind of funny because a lot of people will say the minute the GM does give you the vote of confidence, it's the kiss of death. You know, I don't think it matters either way,
Yeah.
whether the
I
GM
mean,
says
you know
something
what?
or doesn't.
You know it's interesting because there were a couple comments in the last couple of games that Tourigny has been making, right? And there was another comment that I saw from those comments and said those are the very similar words to what John Tortorella said before he got fired.
Interesting. Well, you can't fire the players. I don't think you should fire the players. Even as much as I just banged on Sergachev, with a new coach and a new system, he might turn it around. And I'm not well. See, here's the thing: is if you make the trade if you're committed to your coach, but if you're not committed to your coach, you do not make that trade and you change the coach. And Robyn, I've already got an idea who I want. So I know you probably have an idea who you want. Should we start dropping names here already? I know the guy I want.
I mean, it would take a while for them to hire a new coach. And here's the thing, Tom, I'll say this, like, I wouldn't be upset if, let's say, because again, I feel like the clean house aspect doesn't happen until the new guy comes in, right? But there's a waiting period. That means you have to figure out one of your assistant coaches needs to step in as an interim. That's step number one, by the way, Tom. And I don't have any faith in Blaine Forsyth based off what I've seen because he's in charge of the power play. Or supposed to be, according to my knowledge, right? I don't really have that much faith in Mario Duhamel. John Madden, okay, he's okay. Maybe you give him the interim job. That's kind of like we'll have to see there. But once the new guy comes in, then yeah, you can clean whatever you need to. But do we want to? I'll let you go. I know you really want to. You want to let it. I know you want to drop that bomb, Tom.
I've got my guy already. I don't think you hire an interim. I think you replace Andre Tourigny with Bruce Boudreau. He is my first and probably my only phone call. Now, Gabby, as he's lovingly known in hockey circle, is a guy who, one, is available. Number two, has shown the ability to come in and work with top tier talent and turn them in the right direction and get teams into the playoffs consistently and get them into deep runs consistently. I think he's a good coach, and I think he would give you a solid 3, 4, 5 years behind the bench. I know he's a little advanced in age, and a lot of people say, why you're wanting to regurgitate another former NHL head coach. This one particular coach, I have a ton of faith in, I think is an impact coach and turns the organization around. Now, Robyn, there are other people who are banging the drum for one Peter DeBoer, and that is the last person I want to see come into the Utah Mammoth locker room.
It's interesting you bring that up, Tom, because I'm with you for the most part, but and there is a huge but here, and I disagree to saying that he would be the last person because I take a look, and yes, you look at his track record with goalies, right, where it's not good. You see what he did with Otto and in Dallas. You see what he did with Fleury in Vegas. You see the alienation with Martin Jones in San Jose. But despite that, I just can't help but think of the talent that San Jose had, right? I think I'm looking at that one specifically because, again, that's my hometown, my childhood team. I'm from there. And I remember this vividly, right? I think of the reverse sweep in 2014 that destroyed me. I think them missing the playoffs in 2015 before finally moving on from Todd McClellan, hiring Peter DeBoer in the very first year under Peter DeBoer, going to the Stanley Cup final. Finally getting some kind of turnaround. Didn't take that much tweaks. Yeah, they brought in Martin Jones that year. They got a couple other guys, and named Joe Pavelski captain, which was also huge. But he did that. He helped bring the Dallas Stars to multiple years of making it to the not just a cup final. I think a cup final once, but also several conference finals. That is still a good resume, despite the goalie issue. You have to wonder if that's worth the opportunity cost.
I just think it's going to destroy the room along the way, and I don't think that's worth it. You need to have a really, really strong room to survive that kind of coach. I don't think Utah has that room right now. Maybe they do. Maybe they could surprise me. But I think it would tear the room apart.
The track record is still there, though. As much as I would not like to see him either, right? I still wouldn't want to see him behind the bench in Utah because of what I already know from after several years. But that first year, it really takes a huge step. A massive step in the next direction.
Well, those are definitely two of the candidates, and those are not the only two. There's plenty of names out there, old and new, that could be the right answer for the Mammoth. But Robyn, honestly, out of everything that we've talked about here, I mean, the first thing you do is you change the lines. The second thing you do is you change the coach. And the coach has to change the lines. Because at this point, and honestly, if we see him start to do more things like that, it really means he is in hot water. And he should be. Absolutely should be. Heading into this game against Vegas, this team that's got a 25% power play. And it's not that the Mammoth have been putting themselves shorthanded a lot, and their PK is not bad. It's 11th. But they take bad penalties at the wrong time. They make these undisciplined moves. They don't play proper zone coverage. Robyn, they have a team save percentage. I told you this earlier, and I actually had to do a triple take. 873 save percentage. The goals against over 3. Somehow, they are just so bad in a lot of these stats. They're not getting things done where it matters, when it matters.
And it's
and
interesting.
Vegas is going to smoke them.
Yeah.
If they don't.
No, you're right. You're absolutely right. We talked about defensive naps, and every time I bring it up, right, we talk about those defensive naps, and we think of this is a team where you can't do that against. And most teams in the NHL, you can't have those against because they have that one guy who can just turn up the jets and can leave you in the dust. And Vegas has more than just that one guy.
Yeah.
That's a stacked team.
Yep. Mitch Marner leads them in assists. Remember him? 17 assists. Boy, Toronto would love him back right now.
But he wouldn't want to be back in Toronto, apparently, right?
No,
as he's already talked about that. He enjoys not being able, he enjoys actually being able to breathe and not suffocating to the media.
Right. I mean, Jack Eichel's having a great year. 24 points already for him in 19 games. And how about Dorofeev? Pavel Dorofeev, 11 goals, is leading the Vegas Golden Knights. I did not have that on my bingo card for Vegas. So, I mean, good for him. That's a really good start to the season. But wow, Robyn, I look at this team, and Vegas is still not 100% Vegas. They're still not 100% healthy. But they're definitely a better team than Utah. And you know what? If you need one more litmus test, you have them twice in the next 3 games.
Yep.
And is the homestand kind of it? Is this where we're going to draw our line in the sand? You got 4 games: Vegas, Rangers, Vegas, Montreal.
I feel like, to me, it's yes, but also it's going to depend on exactly how they play. Because if if they look defeated through this 4-game stretch, like they're completely out of it, there's no confidence. So a lot of the issues we've been seeing in the last couple of games, right? It looks like they're just not there, that they're as we said, not on the same page. Then yes, but if there's a shakeup enough that they're back into the competitive edge and they compete, the key word is compete with these teams. Ideally beat the Rangers, but they compete against these teams, then it will still only delay what will probably end up being the inevitable.
They need to win 3 of these 4. They really do.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm laying it out there. You're not getting any closer to the teams in front of you in the playoffs by taking 1 point here, no points there. They're in a rough spot right now.
And they're at home,
right.
So that should help, right? But
and in the last 5 games, again, Peterka 4 goals, 5 points. Like, I think they have some forward momentum. I think they have some positives going on for them right now. But Robyn, I need a 60-minute effort, because I think if they give one, they win. That's the frustrating thing. I think when they do it, they win hockey games, or at least get close. Give me 50. Although some nights you can play 58 minutes and still lose. And that's why it's so important to carry it all the way through. But it is a little frustrating. And the other thing is now Adin Hill's healthy. The everydayers remember Adin Hill. He's healthy, but Akira Schmid has been pretty darn good in his absence. So, and Veggie's got to be huge. One thing they haven't had, it's not that the goaltenders have been bad, but no one's stolen any games. And they need the goaltenders if they're going to turn it around and maybe steal them a game or 2 here in this homestand as well.
I said it before we went on the air, Tom, but like you even said before the season started that you felt like there is not the whole lot, like you didn't have the confidence in Veggie. Like he had a good couple of games in the beginning of the season, but now like we're not so sure.
Yeah. Come on, goalies. Let's go. Chop, chop. Let's go. I want to see it. I want to see them make something happen. Big time saves, like that one big time momentum swing and save. They need those, and it's time for them to deliver.
Yeah, like those athletic saves that get put on the Sports Center highlight reel come like during the playoff times when you see, oh, look what this goalie did. I remember those. I remember seeing those days, especially in the through the 2010s decade. That was a peak decade for some of those goaltenders that were making those kind of saves.
Yeah, it's sometimes it's underappreciated, but it matters. So, Robyn, anything else we need to get in here? Because we've spent a lot of time talking about this today, and I know fans are going to have a lot of comments as they always do. But do you have anything else you need to get in here?
Just gotta say, this team needs to turn it around now, because we're getting close to too late, and we have the expectation, right? We said this team should be, by most accounts, a playoff team, and if they keep playing the way they're doing, they're not gonna get there.
Yes, yeah, I agree. This is not playoff hockey. So, but there's still time. This is only a quarter of the season, but it's still a quarter of the season, and the points count just as much now as they do in March and April. So. All right, Robyn, if folks want to comment to us, I know a lot of you already do follow us on social media. Thank you very much. But for those that don't, where can they find us?
You can find us everywhere on social media, primarily active over on Twitter /X at Locked On Mammoth. That's at Locked On Mammoth. And again, that's mostly everywhere the same across all ones, but mostly active on Twitter /X. You can find me personally at Robyn_Leaño.
You can find me on Blue Sky at Tom Talks and on Twitter at Callahan on Air. Well, we shall see. Big 4-game homestand coming up. Do they shake it up? Should they shake it up? We're going to wait and see. For Robyn, I'm Tom. Thanks for joining us on Locked On Mammoth.